Right at it. Right at it. Oh, he's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome to episode 71 of the Go Get That podcast. We are recording Sunday night after the Super Bowl. Stay to the end for our Super Bowl talk. And more importantly, we are here to discuss Jordan Spieth's tie for sixth at the WM Phoenix Open. We discussed a little bit before, going live here to record, and there's going to be some mixed opinions, some positivity and some negativity from. I'm sure you can guess who the negativity is going to come from. So why don't you speak over there, Mr. Blue?
Well, first, I'd like to apologize to the tailors of the bets this past week as they went 1-12. But I will not apologize to my tailors who brutally walked away with profit after another guaranteed winner hit, thanks to Mr. Keegan Bradley. I was the only one to move up a little bit in the rankings, as now in the SAT slot is Mr. Dan. I can pull up the leaderboard right now. We have Jordan at minus 115 points, me at minus 227 points, and then Dan carrying the bottom at minus 259 points. So we're close. We're still waiting for that outright to hit. I'm sure the Spieth win at the Masters will all get us back into the green. But yes, I was thinking a lot about how I was going to approach this podcast. I'm in a very good mood after the Chiefs Super Bowl win, but at the same time, I think I'm taking a little bit less positives out of this week than most people are. You look at the weekend specifically, and it's easy to take negatives out of that because he didn't win. He was in contention, he didn't win. Okay, fine. That's not why I'm negative about this. In fact, it's not even the putter that makes me that upset. I mean, he's never putted these greens relatively well unless he's gone extremely low. Even his putter during the 63 wasn't amazing. I mean, he ball struck the hell out of the ball that round, which was beautiful, and it was great. But then again, that was one round. And that was one round only. The rest of the weekend, the ball striking was very mediocre. And there were a lot of really bad scoring approaches. And I don't know what the numbers are. I'm not the stats man. Maybe he was first in approach on the weekend. I don't know. But
Not quite.
From the eye test, his approaches are what kept him out of the tournament this weekend. He did not get the ball close to the hole on the weekend. Yes, every single time he had a short putt, it was usually not converted. But then again, you look at his interview yesterday. Why did he play? And I won't say bad. -3 yesterday wasn't the end of the world. He grinded very well.
-2, but
-2. But he said that the reason why he didn't go lower was because he couldn't get the ball close to the hole, and I agree. Look to today. Not much different, man. He put it to 9 feet on 1, 15 feet on 2. And after that, it was a struggle to get the ball close with a scoring iron. I know we put it really close on 18, which of course was a miss. I know a few people in my comment section had Jordan Spieth top 5, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah, I don't know what to say on the driver right now. The driver is not really something I'm trying to approach here because I really didn't pay enough attention to the driver this week because driving the ball straight isn't necessarily that important this week. You just have to keep it out of the fairway bunkers, and you need to get lucky in the desert, which somebody got very lucky with this week. But overall, I was just really unimpressed with the way he played so well from fairway to green in the round of 63 on Friday, Saturday. And that just didn't translate to the weekend at all. That was a one-round occurrence. So yeah,
It's fair.
I would love to hear you guys.
I know Dan's gonna have a lot to say. I also have a lot to say, but I'll just make a few quick points before Dan. I know Dan's like steaming hot over there. But so today, round 4, we saw Jordan Spieth miss a 5-foot putt at the par 5 third. Made par, walked to the 4th. The last group came up to 3. 10-footers falling, 15-footers falling. And I'm like sitting over here like, are we really doing this? Like, I mean, these guys, Rom, Scotty, are just making the big sack putts, as we like to call them, where Jordan's just not making them. I think the pins today as well, Bob, in round 4, a lot of them did not set up for darts.
Don't care.
So, I mean, that's fair. You can say you don't care. I know Mr. Stats Dan will get into this more, but Jordan was 13th in strokes gained approach in round 4.
Here's my rebuttal to that. Listen,
you can have a rebuttal. I mean,
I understand
13
that it
greens.
wasn't god awful. Like I'm not trying to sit here and say that he's completely lost. Like with this approach game, yeah, he could win a tournament next week. But John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler were having no problem getting them close when they need to.
When were they close? They were just making putts.
That's not true.
Scotty
Scheffler was putting plenty of shots to 10 feet. John Rahm was putting plenty of shots to 10 feet. I'm not talking about tap-ins, but 35 feet with a wedge, no thanks from me. Sorry.
Can you point to 35 feet with a wedge today?
Let me just be clear here.
Yes,
Scotty Scheffler beat Jordan Spieth by 5 shots on the greens in round 4. 5
Not disagreeing
shots.
with that. Not disagreeing with the fact that he made a lot of putts and got very lucky. Not at all.
5 shots on the greens. I agree with you. There weren't a ton of darts.
Yeah.
But
I don't disagree as much as I thought I would before we started this, because to be fair, the scoring clubs were still not elite. They were not, I'd say they were slightly above average, but especially on the weekends, those close birdie chances with wedges were not great. They were not overly poor. They were simply to 20 feet, 15 feet, 25 feet, and none of those putts went in. The reason his numbers are actually so good is because he hit shots from 175 yards and plus to 25, 30 feet pretty much all week, actually. The long irons were really, really good. So the strokes gain numbers are also really good.
I would agree with that.
But in fairness to Bob's point, the scoring clubs, especially outside of the round at Friday into Saturday, were not anything special, not anything to write home about, and it cost him some birdie opportunities. And while I would be slightly concerned about that, I just don't think that's like in a normal situation. I don't think that's reasonable considering we're coming off a miscut T63.
Correct.
Like we said that we
Correct.
came into this week. I literally said he's not him. Bob was saying I don't what's the blueprint to playing good golf? And now it's like oh, he plays good, but it wasn't good enough.
I am not saying that we should be like our good friend Ryan, that we should expect a T63 and a miscut to turn into a sack off against Mr. Scheffler. I'm not saying
a loser.
That's what it's supposed
Let's
to
get
be.
that out of the way quickly here. I mean, we have a friend who's a big fan of the podcast, a friend of ours. I mean, he expects Jordan Spieth 2022 putting, which is abysmal, to go to 2019 putting in 4 weeks. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And here's another thing I want to say is that I'm not sitting here with a T6 and being like, oh, this was atrocious. Like, I am fully aware that you cannot expect to go from what he was to this. This was a step in the right direction. I'm just saying, I'm not looking at this as a T6 and being like, oh, he played great. Everything's flawless. We are right where we need to be. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. And I agree with that sentiment. I normally I'm typically a little bit more optimistic about Mr. Putter. And while Mr. Putter had a good day on Friday into Saturday, the way in which he missed putts this week were concerning because I don't think there were a ton of misreads like from inside of 10 feet. I think they were just bad strokes. Like the one on 14 today was an awful shot, awful stroke. The one on 18 today.
The one on
pulled
11,
it straight off the
12 was
blade.
pathetic. The one
Go
on
on
12
and on.
will keep me up tonight.
Well,
The one on 12
he's
was
leaving him
pathetic.
short.
It was an uphill putt that when you watched him putt it, you would think that it was 6 feet downhill.
Yeah.
It was awful.
100%.
He
The
had
speed, right.
work for par from like 18 feet.
And to me, that's why, 27 feet. But to me,
Oh, maybe it was a little longer, but
that's why it's the
Still
putter,
inexcusable.
if anything. Like if you were gonna be concerned about something this week, it has to be the putter more than the slightly above average wedge shots.
I mean,
the reason why I'm not complaining about the putter is because
you expect the
I'm
putter.
just
No, and
there
that's
with
fine.
the putter. Like I'm
That's
not
fine.
expecting things to go in right now.
Right.
And here's my main point of the podcast I wanted to bring up on. And I tweeted this, and it's gotten some mixed things, right? I think the reason why Spieth did not win this week is because he just doesn't have a big enough sack.
Hold
he
on.
doesn't have the confidence.
I
I agree
less,
the confidence part a
honestly.
little bit, but
Listen to this.
define what sack means. Define it.
Like
give an example of sack.
Like sack and confidence are basically the same thing for me. It's the ability to just sit down
just say
and
one of them then. Just
do
say
something.
Confidence.
Okay, but I want to say both because sack is
Okay.
a fun word to say.
I think you got to realize, Bob, if he were to win this week, he probably would play better this week than he played at Valero in 21. And he played so good at Valero.
He
Scotty
wasn't
won at 19 under.
Scheffler was unreal this week.
No. Spieth had. I'm not saying Spieth should have won this week. Scheffler played as good as you could have played. It would have taken an all-time performance from Spieth to win this week.
Yeah,
I am not debating that.
Yeah.
Spieth could have shot 63 in the final round, and we would have been looking at this completely differently, and he would have lost.
I still take a lot of positives personally, but I think the way I look at it, especially with the putter.
But here's my thing with the confidence thing and the sack is just not only is he not getting putts to the hole because he's either afraid of pinning them too hard. I don't know what it is, but just he's not trying to be a killer down the stretch. He's not trying to make things happen. He's got 240 yards out.
Yeah.
On the par 5 15th.
Bad
down
number.
at the time 5-6 shots with 2 eagle holes in the next 4 holes. And he's laying up.
Well, what do you
he's
what do you
missing
want
the
him to
green
do?
on his third shot.
Yeah.
I don't care where the wind is. I don't care if you're in between clubs. You take a chance and you try and put it on the green and give yourself an eagle look.
I was on my story and I was actually fine with the layup just because A, I knew he was out of the tournament anyway, and B, I mean, that's fine. I mean, this is Jordan Spieth we're talking about. If you're going to give him a wedge from 70 yards, I'm going to expect birdie
backstop
quite a few damn times. And you know bogey is not in play because if he hits it in the water, it's a 6.
But I don't care if he bogeys.
But he does.
I care. Exactly.
It should matter.
I don't care if he bogeys.
Okay.
He should be playing for the win way more often.
What he should be doing is not hitting a wedge shot from 70 yards to 15 feet.
You literally last week were criticizing the driver off the deck.
Correct. He had no chance to win there.
Right, and he didn't have a chance to win today.
15.
He was 8 back.
I disagree. His mentality should be. He was like 6 back at the time. His mentality there.
Holes to play.
His mentality with 4 holes to play, which should be get to 15
this is
absurd,
and hope. Dude.
His mentality there should be get to 15 and hope.
I mean, I don't get. I mean, you're asking for like an albatross. You're asking like eagle 15, eagle 17.
I am.
It's
240 yards out. It's 240 yards out. That's an iron or a hybrid. Take a chance.
I mean, I hear you, Bob, but I think at the same time he knew he's out of the tournament. He's trying to make birdie. I'm sorry.
Take a chance.
I think he knew. He knows he's out of the tournament.
I think he trusted himself from 75 yards with the wedge and a backstop. And he hit a
He
bad
missed the green,
wedge.
so I mean, I'm not
Right,
That's
but
the problem.
but that's a
That's
shot
the
he should be
problem.
good at, and he's not right now. And that
correct.
speaks to your earlier point. I'd rather have him do that than try and finesse a hybrid in there and like see what happens.
You saw what
Maybe
John
he just
Rahm
didn't
did,
feel
right?
comfortable.
Yeah, like I take that for example. Like if Spieth should be standing over that ball thinking, okay, let's give myself a chance for eagle. If I put in the water, I'm a great wedge player. Let's make par anyways. Like that should be the thought process. He should be able
All
to
right,
think
but
that he can
you
make par with a
You
water
disagreed
ball.
with this exact sentiment last week.
I
Literally.
disagree. It's completely different.
I-
It's completely different. Going for the green from 240 yards is not a stupid decision.
I think he hits the shot if he has the club bob. Because he's been hitting his mid and long irons great.
This is not a driver off the deck.
It's still just a massive difference in yardage between the clubs he was choosing from, though.
You can't tell me he doesn't have a stock 240 shot.
With what club?
Somewhere in there. He has to
With
be
what
able to
club?
plan for needing a 240-yard shot. This is not 290 yards.
I mean, if he hits hybrid, he's at the back of the green probably.
So
He's got a
take some
90-foot
off the
putt.
hybrid.
Take some off the hybrid.
He needs to learn. He needs to be able to do that.
You literally
If he's gonna win
okay.
tournaments.
Hold on. You literally just said he's lacking confidence.
Correct.
And then you're expecting him to stand up there and take a 3/4 hybrid at this green.
Correct.
And I don't disagree with the sentiment.
Correct. John Rahm would have stood up there and he would have given.
Because he's John fucking Rahm.
Correct.
Dude.
So Spieth needs to work towards getting there, is what I'm saying.
But
We
he's
should not be
there.
settling for 15th player in the world. And I'm not
Okay.
blaming him.
That's fine.
I'm not saying that he was wrong about it. If you don't have confidence, you don't have confidence. This isn't something you can change overnight. I'm just saying this is where we're at.
You want Spieth to be Rahm?
Correct.
Okay, then don't lose over the course of 4 days 8 shots on the greens to him.
Just as big a problem.
I
Correct.
mean,
Correct. There are plenty of things wrong with his game.
I honestly wouldn't say plenty. I mean,
I would like to see more confidence displayed because that is the first step.
I agree with the putts to the hole. I think that's like, I mean, the 27-footer that you pointed out, leaving that 3 feet short. That's the killer instinct that I think you're talking about.
Which I would
feel.
agree.
You're 5 shots back. How are you not possibly getting the putt to the hole?
Right.
That's what gets to me. I disagree with you on 15, which is fine.
Which we can agree to disagree on. But like you even look at number 2. Like number 2, that was a confidence-filled stroke.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know. We're not seeing
where is that
more
coming
often.
from just out of nowhere? He stepped up to that ball, and it was a faster stroke, it was a harder stroke, and it was a more confident stroke. It's so hard to start your ball on line if you're stabbing at it, like he did on 3. Like you should be confident enough to make a 5-footer coming back. If you have a 5-footer down the hill and you need to shoot, he has to be thinking there and you shoot 600-700 to win. You can't play that outside the hole and stab at it. You need to be like, okay, I'm going to go this. If I miss, I have 6 feet coming back, but I should be able to make that. I'm on the PGA Tour.
I agree. What do you think, Dan? I mean, I agree with that point. I mean, the other point I was making is ridiculous.
I don't disagree with anything putter related. I think it was a poor performance on the greens, and it's concerning because it's not misreads. It's just not the best strokes. But I also, I think if you have to compare where he was this week to where we were last week, I don't understand how, we come on here and we talk about concerns like he was supposed to win this golf tournament.
I would agree with that 100%.
I think, I mean, you look at the strength of the field too. Like a T6 of this field's good, and then
it's a good result, 100%.
Exactly. And you hear Jordan talk all the time about 1% better each day. I mean, we went from a T63 at, weak field Pebble to a T6 with the best golfers in the world. It's a step in the right direction. It's February 12th, not April, the second week of April. So you just build. Like we'll try and build it at Genesis next week.
There's stuff to build on. And listen, I definitely don't think Genesis is the best event to be going to next, but it's a golf course.
But...
Really?
Okay.
Why, Dan?
Why do you disagree?
Well, he flushed his irons this week. That's what you do at Genesis. Loves the place. He's putted well there before.
According to Bob, the irons were not flushed, but
yes, I would agree. They were not.
You don't think the irons were flushed this week?
No.
Not the what about the wedges weren't, but the irons were. Is that fair? Or
The
no?
long irons were
Yeah.
hit very well.
Right. How many wedges
But
you get at
at the
Genesis?
same time, his long irons and his wedges were to the same distance, which is the problem that I'm concerned with.
Sort of.
There is nothing
I think
wrong
you're
with 25 feet from 190 yards. There's nothing wrong with that.
I wins golf tournaments. Yeah.
No.
Well,
not at all.
that's an elite golf shot.
Correct. That's
And
a
I
top
I think
15% shot.
there's a realization, like, not every wedge is going to 10 feet. Not every
Correct.
wedge is
He
going to
makes
5 feet.
nothing from 15 to 25 feet. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
you just see it because he doesn't make anything, right? And I'm not saying the wedge play was amazing this week, but it was better than it was at Pebble.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
stressful because if the wedge isn't to like 8 feet or closer, it's a miss.
That's
That's why that's why I think we're giving. I mean, the wedges have not been good. Let's be
That
very
is
honest here.
very
But when you're
fair.
not making anything, when you're hitting it to 15 feet with the wedge, which 15 feet's probably pretty average, he doesn't make any of them.
Well, it could be above average. There's so many guys on tour that don't hit wedges very close, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like the dispersion was a lot better this week. He had a shit ton of greens this week.
Yeah, the
I don't
18
know.
for 18 is a good sign.
I
That's
will
something
say,
that not many players do.
kind of going against what I just said, though, at the same time, like, it was good to see the approach numbers be consistently in the green and very good all week. But a lot of the scoring came in one round. And that's just not how you win a golf tournament, right? The Saturday round seemed overly predictable. And honestly was pretty good that he got it into the 60s.
Huh.
Sunday was a little disappointing, but I mean, he didn't, he played good enough. He hit the ball good enough on a Sunday. And
Putter failed him.
the putter, I mean,
It was frustrating too,
Yeah.
because like
You
I have
gained it.
my.
gained 2 strokes on the field from tee to green on a Sunday. Like,
That's pretty good. Yeah. I have my Instagram posts when I make them. I have them like pre-made, and I'm thinking if Jordan shoots 2 under, I put out this post because it's already ready to go. Because my post was, if he shoots 2 under today, he gained strokes on the field in 4 consecutive rounds for the first time since the Open. Which is, I mean, since July, which is
Yeah.
kind of embarrassing to be quite honest. But I had that ready to go, and he doesn't birdie 17. He made the nice par putt, which was that the longest putt
Yeah.
he made all day besides 2. And then he, of course, misses the 5-footer on 18. So then I got to go make my new Instagram post, which was a hassle in itself. But I like the Saturday round a lot. I think he ended up gaining strokes on the field. He kept himself in the tournament. Obviously, the way Scotty played today, he was never going to have a chance anyway. But Saturday he grinded. He didn't have his best stuff, but he didn't shoot 2 over par. He, did what he needed to do on Saturday to keep himself in it going into Sunday, which was nice.
Correct. Yeah, I'd say one positive that I am taking out of this week is that he really needed this. Just purely in terms of points. He's got himself off to a behind the 8 ball start, as he likes to say he wants to avoid. This is a lot of points he's going to get. It's an elevated event. He's going to get a lot of official World Golf Ranking points, and the FedEx Cup points are going to come as well. This was very much needed. He's going to need some of these. I mean, if he doesn't do well here, doesn't play well at Genesis, all of a sudden, like,
Not good.
we're staring at possibly another, can he even make it to East Lake this year? So this was big. It was purely based on results. This was big. It was nice to get points in the bank, and I think to get in the feeling of contention again will help him in itself.
Yeah, I mean,
He hasn't been there in a while, so there are definitely positives to take out of this week. I'm definitely not as positive as people probably would have expected, purely seeing on the score, but there's stuff there, and there's stuff to build on. There's always stuff to build on. So yeah, I think that you look ahead to Genesis and you're like, let's keep the ball striking up and hope and try and make some putts. there's a very low percentage chance that Jordan Spieth wins next week, if we want to be completely honest. It's a very good field at a golf course that doesn't suit him very well, and he's never really played well at. But it's
Mixed bag.
a mixed bag. He's pulled some rounds out of his behind at that course before.
Yeah.
He's always started relatively well at this golf course. And maybe get yourself in on the weekend. Because I remember the biggest thing in 2021, whenever, 2021. It wasn't the Waste Management 61 that necessarily made me think he was back. It was the T15 at Riviera, because that's a golf course that I never expected him to top 30 at, and he was there. So
I don't like Riviera for Jordan.
I don't at all. It's intimidating in its own right. But it's
fair.
He enjoys it. He loves playing it. It's his favorite course on tour. So what do you got to lose? I don't have any expectations.
I kind of like,
After Riviera is what?
Fun stretch, API players,
Yeah.
Valspar. That's gonna be fun. But I kind of
those are those are three very different golf courses.
I said
with a very mixed bag of results.
Yeah, I mean, I said coming into the Waste Management that we needed to have a good result in terms of placement in one of these next 2 weeks, whether Waste Management or Genesis. So not that we are playing with house money next week, because he's still, a ways away from where we need the game to be. But it's definitely refreshing to have a good result in the back pocket. No matter how he got to a tie 6 this week, he's got it. He's got the points, which, as you noted, are important. And he's definitely going to take some confidence, some, good vibes away from how he played, especially with some of the shots he hit. The approach shots off the tee, for the most part, was, respectable. And the short game returned, which was cool.
Yeah. Well, I think just to sum up all that and kind of, second what you guys are saying, there's a blueprint now for him to win a golf tournament. Is it next week? Probably not. I think he'll play pretty well next week, but he has this week built a profile of, I can hit my irons really well. I'm good enough off the tee. My short game was good enough. And if I can just make some putts, I'll be in a lot of golf tournaments. I hit the ball well enough to be in a lot of golf tournaments with big fields. And so that when, if he hits it like this at Valero, or if he plays Valero, if he hits it like this anywhere, Byron Nelson, Craig Ranch, well, maybe not with the wedges at Craig Ranch, but those are demanding wedge shots over there at Craig Ranch, but
some of those on tour, yeah.
Right, which is why, it's a major championship venue, but
correct.
If he gets to a field where it's not, John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler playing the best golf of and Nick Taylor, by the way.
He shot at him. He got absolutely screwed.
He had a career week.
And he played in the final group with two of the most daunting players in the world, shot a hell of a round.
Yeah, he was
and
awesome.
Just couldn't catch a break.
Didn't get the bounces.
Scheffler was getting relief after relief, break after break in the desert. I still can't get over that ball on 17 yesterday. But
Sahith is sad watching that.
Nick Taylor, to get that chance to get within one or tie the lead on 16, have Scheffler make his putt, and then on the same line have the putt go the exact opposite way for him is just ridiculous. I feel horrible for him, but shout out to him. He played a hell of a golf tournament this week.
And I think too, that's why these designated events are awesome, because
they produced another great leaderboard.
Great leaderboard at obviously a really at a good golf course that played pretty tough this week.
Correct.
Even though Scheffler and Nick Taylor didn't make it look that way. But a guy like Nick Taylor, he made $2.2 million today, and he didn't even win. Right? like that's for Nick Taylor. Like that's, a big, big, big deal.
Correct.
OWGR, it's massive. FedEx Cup, obviously it's a cool 300 FedEx Cup points.
Yeah, because
and then just money. Like that's why these events are awesome, and I'm glad, I think, that the tour has them. Because guys that get into them, you have a career week, and even if you can't beat the best player in the world playing the best golf maybe of his life, like you still get the bag and you still get what you deserve for playing really well that week.
because you look back at Nick Taylor, I mean, a year ago, he was probably still pretty high in the world ranking points because his Pebble win was just kind of dropping off. Like just before he dropped off,
Yeah.
I don't know what he was down to, but I haven't
No,
seen
he
Nick
w-
Taylor's name on a leaderboard in a
I
long.
mean, Dottie Pepper said he was fighting for his card last year.
Yeah, and this is
Like-
coming off holding off one of the greatest players in the last 30 years at Pebble Beach, his
So,
home
yeah.
track. I mean, that was a hell of a performance in itself.
Right.
There's something to be said about now. That's two performances where he's really showed up on Sunday. I mean, I know he didn't win this week, but
He was there.
you can't deny that he didn't show up.
Yeah.
I mean, he did what we wanted Spieth to do on Sunday. It wouldn't have been enough either way, but to shoot 6 under, I mean, that's
fantastic.
can't ask anything more.
Well, he played the role that people thought Rahm was going to play,
Yeah.
and Rahm, by the way, I mean, he played what, like B- golf, and he still finished solo T3 or whatever
very,
it was.
very annoying because of
Yeah.
just, I mean,
He's the
the
buoy.
constant, I know what
He's
Jordan's
so
going to say.
good right
I
now,
won't let
dude.
him say it, but I know what Jordan's going to say.
He's so good.
He's the
But-
buoy.
Yeah. The
Jordan,
buoy.
what were you
sink
going to
him.
say?
I was just gonna go back on Spieth for a second. I had nothing to say.
Can I say one more thing about
Yeah,
Rahm?
go ahead, Mr. Rom. Go ahead.
His ability to pitch out and make par is
Yeah,
absolutely
it's absurd.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
A
it's
pitch
crazy.
out is just, it's his 40-footer that he has to 2-putt. It is ridiculous. Everything is within 10 feet on the third shot. He's very annoying to play against, but I mean, yes, Rahm won 3 in a row. Rahm has let plenty of chances get away over his career. And part of that is because he's given himself so many
Yeah.
chances in contention. But
Yeah.
before these 3 tournaments, the past 2 years for him had been very subpar in terms of finishing.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
But even
So-
today, though, he needed a 65 to go to a playoff.
Yeah, but you look at
Like-
Scotty Scheffler, I mean, that's a capitalizer. He
Oh, for sure.
capitalizes on
But
almost
look at how-
every
look-
opportunity he gets.
Look at how you just mentioned how lucky he got. At some
Yeah.
point, that's got to flip a little bit.
Yeah,
Right?
and listen, Jordan Spieth has not been getting the luck recently, but Jordan Spieth was the luckiest
Yeah,
golfer
he
on
was
the
the
planet in
same way.
2015.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing good, the luck comes, and it's very annoying because some of the luck shot he got this week was absolutely ridiculous, and I don't even want to talk about Xander because that was ridiculous as well. But I'll let Jordan go back and talk about Spieth for a second.
Yeah, so I want to go back to the blueprint that Dan mentioned and why I think this is kind of important. So Jordan Spieth, he T6 at an elevated event, big boy event.
Correct.
Jordan Spieth in 2022 sucked so much at the big boy events. The players was
He did
bad.
indeed.
The majors were bad. I mean, the Open does not count because he was not in contention. Jordan Spieth Sunday today, he was in contention, sort of. He was in the mix for the first 4 or 5 holes. He was not able to say that at like any big event last year on a Sunday, 4 to 5 holes in that he had a chance to win. I think there's something to know about that.
His name was on that little corner leaderboard pretty much all day until the inability to hit a 240-yard shot into the wind occurred on number 15.
That's cruel.
Because then Hatton jumped him and then some bogeys, and then of course missing that 4-footer on 18 or whatever it was just brutal. But
He just wanted to get to the Super Bowl quicker. Let's be honest here.
maybe. I mean, I don't know.
And you got
but,
to see the Eagles lose, so lucky him.
No, I think it was important because Bob. I mean, when Bob mentioned the blueprint thing, like 100% agreed about. Like, even though, and I did mention that Spieth typically doesn't suggest that he's about to give you a blueprint. He laid one out this week that's like, yeah, here's what I'll do. And if I make putts, I'm going to win. And that's the most, for most golfers, that's just the like, that's kind of the way it works. One of these weeks they pop with the putter. And if he can have 3 rounds of like pretty good putting, he's got a really good shot if he keeps hitting it this way. But obviously it's only 1 week and this season
It would be glorious if Spieth could just pour him in like Scheffler did this week for 1 week. I mean, that would be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
We got to save that week though. That's the thing. We got to save it.
No, we don't. No, we don't. I don't care where it comes anymore. Like I really don't care where it comes.
Yeah.
If it has to be at Craig Ranch, let it be. Like that will be a blast. I mean, I know Craig Ranch, that's a bad example because it's the 5th major, but I mean,
well, yeah, that'd be an excellent week to have it.
When Spieth makes
we need to save it for Craig Ranch.
When Spieth makes 4 15-footers round 1 at Augusta, you'll want to know you want to have it happen that week. When he shoots 7 under 65 to lead round 1.
Yeah.
You'll know.
And to be fair, you know, if we're gonna add a little optimism, Mr. Putter did pop in round 2. Mr. Putter was quite good.
That's the weird thing, Dan. That's the weird thing.
I know. It was then because I was, you know, it was good round 1 at Sony. It was good a couple rounds at Century. Not, you know, not amazing, but it was okay. And it was good round 2 here.
Could I mention one thing that I need to bring up after thinking about that? Because this is something that I've been praising him on for the last year almost, because it's been very good compared to where it was the year before. And it's starting to slip a bit. Is the par 5 play. I feel like the par 5 play needs to be a little better. This season specifically, has not been great. It was really bad this week, but even at Sony, not great. I forget how it was at Century. I really don't remember at all.
It was really good at Century.
Pebble.
Died.
He birdied 2 every day, but like that's not even.
Yeah, it hasn't been because going in, I think at CJ Cup he actually like did really well, and then Century was good. But you're right, the past couple of weeks
he just really
great.
It was mostly this week. This
not
week
not birdieing number 3
at all.
The last 3 days this week is killer.
Yeah.
Just comes down to the tee balls not being hit where they need to be hit on those holes.
Yeah, but then even then, like,
I mean, he missed a 5-footer today. Like that can't happen.
That can't happen.
You find the fairway bunker, it's half a shot penalty.
Decent look on Saturday too, from like 12 feet after a wedge. Like, I don't know.
Putter.
It's coming though. Look, the progress was there. It was there to be seen. And that's.
I just want more positivity out of Mr. Ba. It's a T6. Like,
yeah,
that's good.
Are you trying to get more positivity out of me?
A little bit. Like it's
I am not sitting here disappointed with this week. I will say that.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
you're not on Twitter like tweeting me after every
this
miss.
guy sucks, basically.
Well, no, I didn't think I was that bad on Twitter this week, because to be honest,
not on Twitter. On this
there were
podcast.
people in my comments that were devastated.
Yeah.
I after the second hole, after the third hole, I kind of knew it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
I was fairly fair. I feel like coming home. I wasn't complaining about this and that. Like, it just wasn't meant to be. But the entire round, I wasn't killing myself watching the round. Like, no. I understand that we were never winning to begin with. It was Scotty Scheffler's week, and it was always Scotty Scheffler's week. And this round did not ruin my day. It was not a choke.
Yeah,
it was not one thing that let him down.
I think just coming onto the pod and being like,
yes,
oh, I've got all these concerns because
I had to get those out of the way because I couldn't let it be too positive.
All right, if that's just how you roll, then that's just how you roll.
It is how I roll. I would like to see a little more confidence.
Okay, and that's fair.
Very fair.
I just think coming in to the week, given where we set the goalposts of like, hey, can we have some sort of?
Oh, this blew it out of the water by millions.
Yeah,
I would agree.
100%. Okay, if we had just started with that, we wouldn't have had all this other.
But You give him a 68 in round week. Because round 2 is very different than the rest of his rounds. You can't deny that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think like the T6.
It becomes what let's just say he got a 68. The T6 becomes a T23. Okay, are we still happy?
That's mid.
We're a little happy, but it's also like you can't just take away shots that he didn't hit.
Absolutely
give him
true.
shots.
Very, very true. I'm just saying that if he played round 2 like he did the rest of the week, where would
Right.
we be sitting?
Well, we'd have a triple.
Round 2 was very, I don't want to say fluke, but it was very different than the rest of the 3 rounds he played.
Yeah, and
was round 1 a Sony fluke?
I'd say the only difference.
Yes and no. I would say it's not, just because I feel like he actually played very solid. That I feel like round 2 was just one of those days that you just like forget about.
I think he's just Jordan Spieth. Like the highs are like really, really high, and the lows are really, really low. Like he's capable of these low rounds.
But yeah, this
the problem
week though,
is obviously
the floor was higher this week, and that's why he finished well. And the difference about round 2, he made putts.
Yeah.
It was just different, right? And that's what, we could talk about. He obviously hit some excellent shots and he kind of got into a rhythm, but that's not really the pace at which you win golf tournaments, right? RBC Heritage, even though he got quite lucky that nobody really jumped in front, he played better every single day, right? And you kind of see that peak. And in 15, that's what he was good at. It was like picking the moments of like, where am I going to jump into this tournament and establish myself? And he got hot on Friday, and you're not going to, but given how he hit the ball on Thursday and then following that up Friday, he would have been final group, and maybe things go a little bit differently if he had just made some putts on Thursday. But regardless, feeling a little bit better. But excited for Genesis now too.
I am too. And just looking at he got 11 and a quarter OWGR points, which is the most points he's got in an event since the Open.
11?
So it's a big boy field.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you rack up 11 points every week, that's number one in the world.
Yeah. So, baby steps, little baby steps. I want to go into.
Today was a good 5-year-old step.
Yes.
Not today.
Yes, that's a perfect description of the week. Yes, 5-year-old step.
Well, considering we couldn't crawl last week, taking a 5-year-old step is pretty impressive.
I would agree. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not
going
to sit here and be like, this week did nothing. It did. I am very excited for the rest of the season now, because it got my blood boiling.
Yeah.
These weeks, we live for this stuff. These are our Super Bowls, and it's usually a lot of losses in the Super Bowls because that's just what golf is. But yeah, I felt that on Friday. I felt that going into round 3. I'm like, okay, we have a real chance to win this golf tournament. That's the stuff we want to see. Give yourself 10 chances at that. I don't care how bad his putter is. He's gonna win one usually, at least. You just gotta keep giving yourself chances.
Yeah,
that's the goal. Yep.
Well, we'll save some for the preview pod, but
correct.
See some 20 going.
Yep.
Very nice.
I would agree.
Just like something longer than 17 feet would be fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Congrats to Mr. Mahomes.
Oh my God.
Super Bowl. Then there's shambles.
It's the football offseason. It's officially full on Spieth for the Mets.
Hey,
it's a great offseason. It is a great offseason.
The Patriots are tied for first.
True, but it's also a great offseason because Mr. Tom Brady will not be reporting to training camp, which is glorious.
The reign of terror is over.
The reign of terror is over, and I know there are plenty of Pats fans that are listening to this, and I am very happy to say I don't care. I'm very much looking forward to a Brady-less NFL. Hopefully Mahomes can get a few more Super Bowls.
Yeah, it sort of felt like a Brady-less Brady-less league last year, considering how
It
how
was. He
bad
was
the
very
rest of his
relevant.
team was. But
Well, I would say he held his team back, but
I don't know. He
That's
threw for
another day.
450 and 3 touchdowns one game. I don't think,
check downs. But
okay, so what did Mahomes do today? His 2 touchdown passes in the second half were because Andy Reid's a brilliant football coach.
correct.
Those plays were excellent designs, and
This
Mahomes
was.
just threw it out to the flat.
I'm not saying that this was Mahomes' best game,
Okay,
but it
as
didn't
long
need to
as
be.
long
It
as
didn't need to be because he made
hold
2
on.
huge plays:
that were
the run
yeah.
and the throw halfway tackled. They got him the first down to Kelsey.
Okay. Oh my God. Well,
Just
okay. The
those
run
are
was
plays
fantastic.
Tom Brady can't make.
Okay, but
That's-
as long as you will acknowledge that in most of the Super Bowls that Mr. Brady won, he also made 2+ good plays in those games.
Fair.
Okay, then we've established that Tom Brady has played well and got his team to win in 7 Super Bowls.
Correct.
I will acknowledge
what I
that
am
Tom
saying is that
Brady
all
is
the
an NFL
good 2+
quarterback.
plays that Tom Brady makes, Mahomes could also make, and Brady could not make the ones Mahomes made today.
That's fine. And look,
Yeah.
I think today though, for me, if people are still listening, I'm glad you're here for football takes.
Yeah.
But
You're the
today,
best
This is
for
what
me.
we look forward to.
it reminded me that one, Andy Reid is a really good football coach.
Yeah,
and
he's
2,
really good.
the Chiefs are a lot more than just Mahomes. Like they're
That's not
across
true.
the board. They're a better football team than people give them credit for.
I see. I don't think that. I think it's Mahomes and Kelsey, and that's kind of just
Juju. Their O-line's pretty good too, but their defense.
their O-line. Their O-line
Well, their
is
defense is not
decent. Their
great.
defense is horrible.
Okay, but their defense scored a touchdown today,
They did.
and they had the longest punt return in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, both of those are great plays. Like the Chiefs as a team know
Played
how to
very
win
well tonight,
football
but to
games.
get here, that's not what Mahomes went through the entire season.
I mean, Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill and still won MVP. Like that's
Yeah, no, Mahomes is great. I don't deny that. And the Chiefs aren't 14-3 without Patrick Mahomes. But I think
I'm just saying that
I think the Chiefs are 10-7, 11-6 with Chad Henne. Like I think that's how good Andy Reid is.
no denying that.
11-6. No,
11
maybe
and
they
6
make the
might be
playoffs.
stretching
Maybe
it.
they make the playoffs.
They're a
but-
playoff team with Chad Henne though.
Mm,
And I'm not trying to slight Mahomes. I just think like because
I
he had a
honestly
Mac
don't
he
know
had
if
he
they're
had a
playoff
Mac
team.
Jones
I don't
stat
know if
line
they are.
tonight, except for the run.
I don't know
just
if they are
don't-
because here's the thing: even though their team's good, to win games, you have to put up so many points when you're playing on the
Yeah.
Chiefs.
They
That's
don't
an
sweep the
excellent-
Chargers with Chad Henne.
No, like they have to put up so many points because their defense just isn't good. Chad Henne doesn't put up that many points. Does he make some of the same plays? Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's
Mahomes
fair.
consistently
Mahomes,
puts up 30 points
I
plus.
cannot deny that Patrick Mahomes scores quite a few points.
Correct.
Mahomes does score points. Can agree.
Correct.
But
Brady won a
he-
Super Bowl 13.
I will say that he scored what? They scored 38 today. He was, importantly responsible for only 24.
That's fair.
That's
it was just funny.
that's some help.
It
you
was
know?
nice to see the Mahomes do what Brady couldn't do, which is beat an overrated quarterback on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So that was nice to see.
I think the Brady threw.
And Dan is just very sad.
I don't know. Mahomes threw for what today?
I don't
190
even know.
and
yeah.
3 touchdowns
wasn't
because he
much.
got one of them was set up because he got there.
Yeah.
Brady put
There's no denying this was not a Mahomes carried game.
Brady threw for 500 yards in the game that you mentioned, and they lost.
They did lose.
Well, not
That's
the
correct.
And it's
13-3 game.
Yes.
What's up?
Not
13
the
to 3.
13-3 game. You were mentioning the
Okay.
other game against the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm talking
Which
about
we
the
lost.
Eagles, which we did lose, but we also Bob. What's amazing is that you're enjoying Mahomes and his greatness so much, which is awesome. Like when your team actually is good and like wins a Super Bowl, it's gonna feel so amazing, dude. I'm telling you, if you think this is fun right now,
It's a
wait till the
low
Dolphins
blow.
do something good. And then it'll
Listen,
be like, oh my
listen.
God, football is amazing.
Listen,
And then experience it 6 times.
Here's the thing.
in your life.
Here's the thing. You're living in the past.
That's fine.
I'm content with where my life is right now, and you're
You could
content
say
with
we're
where your
all
life
living in
is
the
now.
past because we talk
All
about
that matters is what happens in the future. And right now, I feel like the Dolphins are in a better position to win the Super Bowl than the Patriots are.
That's fine. Talk to me when you get, somewhere.
We will.
Somewhere where you can have an
We will.
enjoyable Dolphin
Until then,
game.
I'm going to bask
Because your
in
team,
my
your team,
Mahomes
how do you
win.
feel that your team is so bad that you're cheering for a quarterback of another team?
I think it's more just because of the Eagles. Like, that's the problem, Dan.
You guys don't like the Eagles?
No, if it was San Fran, I would have rooted for San Fran easily.
To be fair, I'm not sure I'm a massive Eagles fan outside of the fact that they were playing Patrick Mahomes.
Their fans suck. I
But I
don't like their
also-
coach.
I want to be clear. I have to establish that I do not like the narratives that the media creates around Mahomes because I think he's had probably the greatest start ever to a career, but it's gonna get twisted into a way that it's like they're comparing him to Brady. Like compare and in totality, not just the best of Brady or Mahomes. And I think if people would, I think that's what
I
bothers
think
me. And
it's
I don't
more.
dislike Mahomes at all. Like as a person, as a quarterback, but I think the narratives that get spun about him are a little frustrating.
You want to know what it is? Is that even though he doesn't have the Super Bowls yet, is he has that ability to be compared to Brady in talent. Like there's definitely a debate as to where the talent there's a talent debate there, but also with the killer.
Yeah,
clutch.
he's a winner.
He's a winner that Aaron Rodgers didn't have.
Oh, for sure.
Like
No,
that's
he's
a debate
Aaron-
that's the debate
Right.
that Aaron Rodgers could not win against Brady.
Right. And I think in the end, right, we talked a little bit about, to me, there's a difference between being better than somebody and being greater than somebody. And I think
Right.
to be Mahomes likely will go down as better than Brady. And I don't think he
know.
needs.
I don't think I in
You
the
don't
end
really?
I don't think so. And to me, yes. But
okay, to me, better means like more talented. You just said Mahomes
okay,
can do
fair
things that
enough.
Brady
fair
can't
enough.
do.
It's going to be very hard for him to get to a point where people can say he's the greatest of all time, though.
Okay, but what if he gets 5 though?
If he gets 5, there's a real debate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he needs, like, if he gets 6, he wins that debate,
It's going to be very hard for him to get 6.
right?
6
No,
is a
but
lot
I
of
think-
Super Bowls.
But I think that
He doesn't have the longevity that Brady's going to have.
that's fine.
That's very
fine. But I
true.
think if he does get the 6, which is crazy to think about.
I don't think he needs to get to 7. That'd be so stupid.
But I think that's my point, is that
I think there's certain
he
people
doesn't
that
need to reach Brady's greatness to pass Brady in greatness because he might have the talent.
According to a certain Twitter user, he will need to get to 7 and have all the yardage and everything.
right, and I might agree with that.
And
We'll
as
have
a
to
fan
see.
of the
We're so
Patriots, you
far
can
away,
agree
but-
with that. Like that's fine.
We're so far away from that, but he's off to. It is certainly fair to say that he is off to a GOAT trajectory,
Yeah.
but it's only been 6 seasons.
How many more
and-
seasons does he have left in the NFL? Would you say 10,
Well, I don't know. I mean,
10, 11?
the way quarterbacks
He's 27,
are going,
28, right?
I will say his injury history, while not totally alarming,
Yeah.
is he's got an ankle issue.
Well,
He's had
that's
the knee issue.
that's the thing that made Brady so good is that he never had to move out of the pocket, and that's the way that it like worked.
No, he
And that's not a
maneuvered
shot
it.
at Brady. I'm just saying that the
pocket.
way he played was very
Yeah, well,
easy
Andy,
to last long.
He's
He
also
bought
very
it
lucky. Just
eating-
never got the big injuries.
Yeah,
Like,
and he just
He also had a very
Well,
good
no, Brady's had the
defensive
ACL.
ability. Nice.
Brady had the ACL, right?
Which was one season.
yeah,
that's it.
no, I think, and that's
And it's not an injury that tortured him down the road as well.
just the way he plays doesn't
Like Tiger Woods in his back.
Speaking of
back next
Tiger Woods.
We'll get.
We'll
into
save that for the preview. We'll
Okay, but that is a GOAT right there.
Missed, cut, guaranteed winner coming.
Oh man,
What do you think the
Fading
odds on that are going to be,
Woods.
though?
they're not great.
It's got to be minus money for a
I think it
miscut.
is. I think it is.
Probably. Yeah.
Should
But
be.
it could be free money according to Bob.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Mr. Woods makes the cut.
Going back to Mahomes real quick though, let's say he plays 12 more years. He could definitely win 4 out of the next 12. One of
Yeah.
every 3 years. I mean, that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I was
He
talking.
needs to,
I mean,
he needs to
it's-
stay with relatively good teams though. Like
Yeah.
he needs to
Problem is
build like
Andy
a
Reid
Well, I think-
franchise
the
around.
whole
I think
time,
that's the
too.
key. Is like, I don't know if he needs Andy Reid, but having Andy Reid
benefits.
stay as long as possible certainly helps Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
I don't know if Reed wants to go 12 more years.
I don't think he will either. But I
Andy
think
Reid might be
Reid's-
done this year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But at the same, then I said that, and then somebody's like, "Well, why would you quit? Not quit, but just like, even if you have 3 years left, you could get another ring because you have Patrick Mahomes."
Correct.
know?
Yeah, so if he went 12 more years, he's 76. Bill is 70 right now.
Yeah, Belichick's going for a. He's dude. He'll be there in New England until 2050.
Belichick's
That
eating
dude.
it.
He just
That-
wants the record, I think.
Yeah,
He's
he
what,
deserves
like
it.
15 games away, so
but
like
then
2
I
seasons?
think he wants to I think he wants one more ring.
Did you say he's 15 games away?
Something like that, right?
So he's 15.
I
That'll
think-
take 3 seasons about, let's say.
Oh my god. Not with Bill
Mac
O'Brien.
Jones.
I'm telling you guys, M. Jones is gonna have a good year.
M. Jones is headed straight for
M.
the 7-8, or I mean 8-9 road.
That's not true. We actually have we'll have to see what the schedules look like and what the draft class.
Hopefully, the NFL has moved on from Mr. Al. I hope personally, as an AFC East person, that the NFL has moved on from the Allen obsession and on to the Burrow obsession. Even though I hate
Oh my
Burrow,
God.
I hope that Allen stops getting all the luck so that the Dolphins can run the AFC East for a few years.
Well,
We play the
here's
Fins
what I'll
next year
say.
again. Yay.
It's very early, and this is wild, but
Oh, boy.
Mahomes in this new era, Mahomes is kind of in terms of winning, at least,
Leader.
he's the Brady.
Yeah.
And Burrow's the Manning, and Josh Allen's like the Ben Roethlisberger. But I don't even know if we can say that. 'cause
I like that comparison.
but
I do not like
Roethlisberger has a ring, though.
I do not like the Burrow to Manning comparison.
No, that's a little much.
That's
but
a little
it-
much for someone who's won nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but and to be fair to like Ben Roethlisberger, like Josh Allen hasn't done shit either. Like Roethlisberger's got a ring.
No, the Roethlisberger
Roethlisberger's
to
got
Allen,
2, even though the first one he got carried to.
the
Yeah.
Roethlisberger comparison to
But
Allen,
he
I
does- he
don't
have 2
hate.
rings.
I don't hate.
Yeah, but just in terms of like the hierarchy of the AFC,
I would compare.
maybe Burrow. Burrow might be a Flacco
Yes,
right now. He might be Mr.
Agree.
Flacco.
I would agree. Agree.
I'm
Flacco
being
is a
100%
guy.
honest here. Joe Burrow's probably better than Joe Flacco was, but Joe Flacco never had the receivers that Mr. Burrow has.
Okay. Well, wait till M. Jones gets T. Higgins this summer.
I don't
Please,
think that's gonna
no.
happen.
Imagine Jordan
not
T.
doing it.
Higgins went from Burrow to M. Jones, and you had to deal with that.
Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl going 9 for 21, 123 yards and 2 picks.
Nice.
Think about that for a second. They won 21-10 with that
How
stat
you get
line.
it done? That's like Spieth's putter winning the RBC. You know,
Yeah.
That's
like that's
fair.
exactly what it was. Very well.
Alrighty.
It's getting late.
Oh,
Do you have any closing thoughts
If
on-
anybody
Go ahead.
is still listening and thinking about golf, thoughts on Rickie Fowler this week.
I told Bob coming in I think he might be playing better golf than Spieth, and I walk out possibly still thinking the same thing.
Well, he's
But I'm
striping
not
the
sure.
ball, but
Yeah,
he's also a low sack player. I mean, to go from ace to bogey and then like tripled on one of the
Yeah.
last few holes.
a
That
one
was very Fowler-esque.
a 1-5-5 stretch on the card is hilarious. The
Man,
with
he-
no par fives.
yeah, with
he
no
drove
par
it so
fives.
bad this
The
week.
what I will say is that he drove it poorly.
Triangle box.
2, he made a lot of things happen that were weird, right? Like I think he holed from a bunker, obviously a hole in one. But
Yeah.
he
He stripes the ball.
the bad shots are still bad, and there's still a couple in the bag. The good shots are really, really good, winning quality
agree.
shots.
He's Spieth.
But this is the kind of stuff that you saw from Spieth in 21 as he
Yeah.
kind of turned it back up. Is like you just start when you play better, you start holing shots. You just
Mhm.
hole more shots. So Fowler's time is coming. I mean, I don't know. We'll see, because the Florida swing, I think he plays Honda, right? And then API and players. Maybe the Honda's his spot,
I don't know. I think it might be too early. That
but it
might be too big boy of a golf course for
might be a
Rickie,
little too
too.
early. But it's coming, I think. Unless
Maybe
something just
he's-
goes wrong.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, this is a little more negative point of view, but I mean, Fowler he has what, 5 wins anyway?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's not
So
a
it's not
guaranteed
like
win.
when Spieth was playing well, it's like, well, he's already got 11. Like he's won a lot before.
Okay, the thing about Fowler is that he's
Low
let me
sack
just make
player.
let me just make sure I'm not hold on.
Calling him a low sack player is hilarious. That's so good.
Well, he kind of is.
What
Okay. So I'm gonna say this about Fowler. Even though he's like a big name, he's like a glorified Billy Horschel, essentially. Maybe less. He's less even, I think. They
Wow.
both have a players, right?
Yeah.
Horschel's a
Oh
player?
no, Horschel doesn't have a players.
Okay, but
Fowler's better than Horschel. He's got some majors
but Horschel does have a WGC, a Tour Championship, and 2 more victories.
I mean, we've talked about the playoffs. Like,
I'm not saying they are, but we've also talked about the players.
No,
Yeah.
Bob makes a very
but
fair point. Horschel's just not as
Fowler-
marketable as Rickie, and that's why.
Yeah,
Fowler-
Rickie has never been Spieth or Rahm.
Fowler- Fowler in the same year Horschel won the Tour Championship, I think finished inside the top 5 at all 4 majors.
Yes, that was
And then he won the players the next year.
Bridesmaid, not the bride.
Like Rickie's best stuff is better than Horschel's
Yeah,
best stuff.
Rickie's unlucky too. We've talked about
Yeah,
the majors
he's-
for Rickie.
he
He
is
should have
unlucky.
one.
2018, the Masters. I mean, Patrick Reed had no business winning that golf tournament.
Such a
Like,
shame.
legit. There's usually trend. Oh, while we're on the subject of trends, I know this has been a long pod,
We're gonna
but
talk about Mr. Reed for a second.
Patrick Reed had no
There we
business
go.
winning the Masters because it's all about like going into the Masters, especially like Kyle Porter tweets out like, here's some trends that you got to follow to win the Masters. And a lot of them are ball striking based. So excellent week for Spieth in that department. 2, Patrick Reed fit basically none of those trends and chipped and putted his way to a green jacket, which is crazy. And Fowler, I think, did fit the trends and finished 1 shot back. Final thing, which is not related to Reed, well, sort of, because I guess he used to be Captain America. But Mr. Spieth is now inside the top 20 in the Ryder Cup points, which
Thank you for that.
we figured was going to happen at some point. But like,
Did we?
Well, as of today, Spieth is still definitely a pick.
yeah,
As of
oh,
today.
for sure. But it was just like,
I will say,
Cantlay's
I think
19th, dude. That's crazy.
I think as of now, Mr. Bradley is a pick as well.
Oh, for
Way
sure.
he's
Well,
been
the top 6 right now is Scotty, JT, Willie Z, Colin, Homa. Also, Morkow's winning Genesis, but we'll get to that. Homa,
No, thanks.
Cam Young, Keegan Bradley, Xander Schauffele,
Yeah.
Chris Kirk,
Chris Kirk.
Dustin Johnson, Sam Burns, Tom Hoagie, Jordan Spieth, Kiz, Finau, Buckley, McCarthy, Harmon, Cantlay, Thompson.
We're getting to the bottom there.
Yeah,
God.
well, the Europeans are, Rory, Rahm, Perez, Norin, Otegui, Lowry, Fleetwood, Hoygaard, Hatton,
God, that's a lot. We're gonna win that by so much. I don't know if
Baronk,
the Europeans are ever gonna
McIntyre,
win.
Rosner, Callum Shinkwin, Valimaki, Migliozzi,
Guido.
Mathieu Pavon.
Oh,
Oh,
French pen.
thank you very much for that, Dan.
Mr.
Well, I used to
Francesco will
take
make it.
French, but we'll figure it.
I wonder if Francesco will make it.
Oh, Molinari? Yeah, dude, that was dumb.
Molinari makes it. I mean, it's in Italy.
He could.
Man, he
Hollywood.
sucks recently.
Yeah, he has not been. He had a T5 that got my
You
hopes
bet
up
him this
too
week.
much.
Yeah, you bet him this week.
I did instead of Johnny Vegas. I will go back to the Johnny Vegas well soon. Big trust on that. He's hitting the ball too well to not get top 40.
That's fair. Are we wrapping it up?
We
I
probably
think we
should.
need to. I'm yawning over here.
If anybody heard that last like 5 minutes, I appreciate you.
Yeah, you guys
If
are.
you're still
person down.
somehow
If
listening,
you're
like,
still listening, then you're either really down bad or really like just really. I'm so. I mean, you're probably having a really long car ride. Like, apologies for that. Like something that's not normal. So, but yeah,
like
I
but we
mean,
appreciate it. We're
we
glad
do,
you're here.
and it's listen. We're our own little bubble and our own little sub bubble, basically. But you know, we get the like when's the next podcast coming out? Is there a podcast tonight? Like that means a lot to us. That shows that you guys care. It's definitely doesn't go unnoticed by any means. I mean, we love doing this. And we got more stuff coming. Like we're gonna start to, add some more things. We gotta keep you on your feet. We can't make it too predictable. So, we're gonna new opportunities here, new opportunities there. Just,
Be on the lookout.
keep
Be
you
on the
thinking,
lookout.
be on the lookout.
One final thought, and I think this is a good place to close. The long lost bunker shot.
Yes.
Wherever you found that video, congrats. 5,500 likes.
Thank you.
Almost a million.
I can give
impressions.
I give the backstory to it real quick. So I posted, I said I'd give money to whoever did it. The person who sent it to me was a let me find. It's a 14-year-old boy who was at the tournament. Say he didn't need any credit and say he didn't need the money. So
Wow. Shout out to him.
His name is Jax. I won't say his full thing. I assume probably because the reason he didn't want credit was, I don't know.
So
he probably
Ajax or Iax?
It's same as the soccer team, but I'm gonna say Jax just because that's how I always say it. But regardless, thank you to him. Thank you to Desire Golf as well for taking the video and not giving me any credit. But thank you to the PGA Tour for giving me credit.
Yeah.
They were mad giving you credit. Like they didn't want to do it.
They haven't given many people credit, but I'm still waiting to see if they take it down because this has happened before where they give people credit and they still take it down. So
Hunter Mahan commented.
But yeah, I got some nice retweets from Foreplay. Hunter Mahan flushing it has gotten me a few followers, which is nice.
Yeah, flushing it. That's an interesting account.
You love flushing it, don't you?
He has some opinion, or he or she has some opinions.
Is he like a live person?
They just are they try to be very straightforward and pointed on their thoughts about it. I do think sometimes they tend to lean a little bit live, only to sort of push back against some of the more pro PGA Tour golf media.
That's fair.
I think they'd be interesting to talk to, but
yeah, but
I mean,
anyway,
yeah, I would love to have them on for sure. They've been good, but yeah, thank you. Definitely a nice little video. I've got comments from a lot of people, which is nice. Always nice seeing something blow up. It's fun. It's fun to see.
You got 13K followers too.
Almost 1 million views, which is pretty cool on the tweet, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's a big number.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
I would love to see 1 million putts fall at some point.
Yes, no big numbers.
Next week.
No big numbers on the scorecard. Correct. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for bringing that up, Dan.
Take care, everyone. See you for the Genesis preview.
Yes. Peace.